So you want to start a stream maybe on Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, but you don't want to use a DSLR, you don't want a camera in general. Whether that means you don't want to use your face, so because you don't want it out there on the internet, totally understandable. Maybe you're shy, or maybe you just like broadcasting. By all means, this video is going to be for you. I'm going to give you guys some good tips and strategies that I think are pretty important if you're going to start on this endeavor without a camera. So let's get right into it. What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to Ray's Night Shift, where we talk about everything streaming related. So as I said before, we're going to go ahead and talk about how to start streaming without a camera. Now, let's jump right into it. The first things first, what kind of audio equipment are you going to use? Because if you're not going to be able to see your face, then audio is going to be really important. You don't want to have a video where it's just random gameplay and you still get really bad audio equipment. So by all means, this doesn't have to be expensive. The microphone that I am using right now is a shotgun mic from Takstar, and this thing was only 16 bucks when I bought it. Now, currently, I also have an SM7B, so depending on your price point is where I would go with this. So I would recommend both of these microphones simply because one is so cheap and it gives you that nice feeling of I'm actually talking to you, like it's very natural sounding. But if I ever want like more of a broadcasty radio show type thing, then I'll use the SM7B. So depending on your price point, sky's the limit on this portion. If you are going to go strictly for voiceover work and stuff like that, I would recommend a condenser microphone because overall I think those just sound better when it comes to, you know, naturally speaking. It just sounds good in my opinion. So by all means, just shop around to see what you're interested in and what would actually suit your voice and what sounds good to you. So that's definitely the first step, is upgrading your audio equipment just so your audience can have a better experience overall if they're not going to be able to see what you look like. So let's get on with step number 2. So this next part's all about you. Yes, you looking at this video, the one that actually searched for this information. What kind of personality do you have? Because essentially that's what you want to go with. If you're a funny person, by all means, be funny. If you're a good storyteller, be a good storyteller. By all means, use your strengths to your advantage, because ultimately that's what's going to draw people to you at the end of the day. So I know it's very cliche advice, but really that's the best thing I can tell you. I know when I first started my YouTube channel, I was a little different. I think I was more calm and I tried to be like other tech review channels, and I wasn't really being me. So by all means, make sure you stick to your guns on what you're into. So if you have a real passionate personality, by all means, be that passionate personality. And at the end, you have to be just really truthful with yourself. I mean, there's certain topics, like if I was talking about lipstick, I don't care. I'm going to be checked out of the conversation. But you talk to me about business and streaming and stuff like that and how to grow, I'm all about it. That's when I light up. That's when I actually want to engage in that conversation. So by all means, stick to the topics that really you love to talk about, whether someone's listening or not, because that's ultimately, what it's like to build a brand, essentially. Not many people are going to be there, but as long as you keep talking about it, eventually people start sticking around and they're like, hey, I like what that person has to say. So by all means, let's bring your personality into this and start planning ahead on what you want to talk about, what you want to do, and that's going to help you grow. So this next part is going to be pretty important, because ultimately, just because people can't see you doesn't mean they don't want some kind of imagery of what you look like, right? I know plenty of channels that might not show their face. Kind of a perfect example for me would be Grade A Under A. I don't know what that guy looks like. I don't care. I just think of that stick figure with a really big chin that he created, and that's what I think Grade A Under A is. Like, I don't care about his personal, how he looks like or anything. So by all means, think of something that you want representing you and go ahead and go for it. Even if you're playing a game kind of like Warzone or whatever, right? I always talk about this. By all means, pick the same skin. That way and make sure it's a skin that's not commonly used. That way when people see it, they're like, oh, that's X, Y, and Z, right? They always use that skin and not many people use it. So that's another thing you can probably consider when you're picking out these characters, if you're going to be a gamer or something like that. And for the fourth and final tip for this video, and I think it's going to be the most important one, is going to be consistent. At the end of the day, this is very hard, whether you have a webcam, whether you have a good camera, good equipment, or not. Ultimately, consistency is really what's going to make this. Don't think about this as a project for weeks, days. Think of years, essentially. Now, ultimately, if what you want to get out of this streaming or anything like that, if you reach your goal in a few months, by all means, that's great. But if you're trying to build an actual audience, don't be scared. Don't think that, oh, because I don't have a camera, people aren't watching me. no, by all means. I like I said, grade A under A was a good one. I think that channel's dead now, but Jack Frags is definitely still around, and I still watch his stuff on YouTube from time to time. So there's plenty of creators out there that are doing exactly what you want to do. So by all means, just be consistent and make sure you have everything in check. Like I said, your audio is going to be really important because it's basically just your voice. Your personality is going to be important because that's what's going to keep bringing people back. And you know, all these other little things like having an image that pretty much represents you, that's going to help. But ultimately, consistency and getting better with each one of your videos and streams, it's what's going to take you to the next level. So by all means, I hope you enjoyed this. If you've made it this far into the video, by all means, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I do make streaming content weekly, and I got something that I think you'll enjoy. So if you ever want to catch me live on Twitch, it is also Ray's Night Shift. And along with that, any comments that you have on this video regarding, you know, streaming without a webcam or maybe a DSLR or anything like that, I'd love to hear it. With that said, I will see you guys on the next video. Bye-bye.